Work for it, ride for it, I'ma organize for it. Stay up in the night and in the morning, I'ma rise for it. Heart for it, mind for it, ears for it, eyes for it. Peace and a place on this earth for me and mine for it. Work for it, ride for it, I'ma organize for it. Stay up in the night and in the morning, I'ma rise for it. Heart for it, mind for it, ears for it, eyes for it. Peace and a place on this earth for me and mine for it.
All right, hey, peace. Thanks for tuning in to the Money, Power, Land, Solidarity podcast. We're here today on October 30th, Halloween Eve, a couple days before the November 2nd, 2021 municipal elections in Minneapolis. We got the all-star cast back on the mic. If you want to introduce yourselves.
This is Isaac.
Deanna.
And Amber.
And I'm Jake. Thank you to all the patrons tuning in, everybody who's supporting us. We really appreciate it. Today, I think we wanted to talk a little bit about rent control, a little bit about city council candidates. I want to talk about the city attorney a little bit. We just have a casual conversation. So maybe to start it off, city council candidates, do y'all got any certain city council candidates you want to lift up, or should we go ward by ward perhaps?
How many words are there? 20?
13. I don't know enough about all of them, to be honest. I'm going to have to...
Same.
Amber got the detailed breakdown.
Everyone's first part's just stacked away.
Yeah, that's the next
Should we start in order, I guess?
Let's do it. I could talk about Ward 1 since I'm a Ward 1, a son of Ward 1. That's where my parents still live. I grew up in Ward 1 in Northeast Minneapolis. We have Elliott Payne versus Kevin Reich. Kevin Reich is one of the more conservative members of the council. We definitely want to get Kevin Reich out of there. I'll definitely encourage people, if you're voting, if you feel so inclined, to vote for Elliott Payne. I'll have to say this. I have a healthy dose of skepticism towards Elliott Payne. Elliott Payne so far has proven to me that he's a member of the DFL, and he also is city staff. I think that's really interesting. And beyond him personally, I'll say, like, I wish him the best, and I'd like to talk and build with him more. I think the department he works in is interesting to look at because it's the Office of Performance and Innovation. This is the office that was tasked with implementing the mild police reforms that were won through all the budget advocacy in the last 4 years, like getting the mental health responders, et cetera, et cetera. This department was created by a grant from the Bloomberg Foundation. The Bloomberg Foundation created these departments in municipal governments around the world, and the whole language of it is we act as an internal consultancy. It's very much capitalist language of management, you know? So that's interesting to learn more about, but Ward 1, I'd say Elliott Payne is better than Kevin Reich. It's one ward where there is no left presence. You know, Elliott Payne is not a DSA endorsed candidate. He's not a socialist of any variety. He's not being aggressive coming out against the Upper Harbor Terminal. I think he is for rent control. That's great. And again, I wish the best, but that's my take on Ward 1. What do y'all think?
Yeah, ditto that, I guess. I haven't looked into the specifics, but it seems like he has a pretty good shot at winning too.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think he rinsed him during the DFL convention. Yeah.
And he was close to losing like 4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
That seems like one of the more optimistic races. And it's great to see Kevin Reich out of there for sure. You know what I'm saying? So more power to them for taking that seat. And then we got, struggle ahead of us potentially. And I don't know if it's a done deal. That's my general take too, is I don't have a good pulse. Like I couldn't make any predictions, but it seems to me like Elliott Payne has a stronger campaign going than Kevin Reich, and people are sick of Kevin Reich shit.
I think I only canvassed over there like one or 2 days, so nothing to like really.
We saw a lot of Kevin Reich signs though.
Like along, what's that boulevard where there's like
St. Anthony Parkway?
Yeah, St. Anthony Parkway.
Yeah.
Feels like you're in the burbs, kind of.
Big time. Other side of Johnson, that's like, it's a whole different area. Really though, like when I learned about redlining and everything too, I realized growing up, I could definitely see that in the geography, as you move through Northeast.
Yeah.
But that's his stronghold, he's definitely a conservative candidate, definitely the wealthier people Northeast.
Ward 2?
Y'all want to start?
Ward 2 is, Robin Wansley, Cam Gordon running for re-election. I saw his campaign finance numbers. He had like $900 left in the bank. I was like,
damn.
Not looking too good.
Spend it.
And then on the DFL side, it's Tom Anderson, who is like a ham and cheese sandwich of a candidate. And then, no offense to the guy, that's just how it presents.
Has he run for something before, or is that just a generic Swedish name?
Did he work? I
think my uncle's Swedish or Norwegian, but his name is Tom Anderson.
So, not Jake's uncle.
Not my uncle. Hell no.
And then Yusra Arab, who's the kind of main challenger, I guess.
I think
from
so.
The DFL side, I guess.
I think so. Yes, that's the interesting dynamics in that Cam Gordon is the only non-DFL member of the council now. He's a Green Party candidate. I'll say that Robin, who's running in Ward 2, is the candidate in the race I'm most excited about. I've been pitching in and helping with Robin's campaign. Robin is a DSA endorsed candidate who did not run for a dual endorsement. We've had her on the show. People know, but I think if you're in Ward 2, try to get the word out for Robin. I think it'd be really powerful to get Robin in there. How do y'all think that race is going? Who do you think is? It's really hard for me to judge.
I don't know, because it's like a lot of students and then
True.
Seward, which Seward can be goofy as
really.
fuck.
Prospect Park too, and some Longfellow.
Right. I mean, that's hard, like getting students to register to vote, like wherever they live, because it's easier if you're not living from that ward to just vote from your home address. So that's such a iffy demographic.
I heard somebody say this year that that's why Ginger Jensen lost in the competition for Ward 3. Ginger Jensen was the only socialist running last election. She won lost a really contested race.
Yeah.
Ran a great campaign, and somebody said it was because they spent so much time trying to turn out students and it just doesn't work. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just repeating what I heard somebody else say.
Yeah, I mean, they're students for Robin, and I think they're doing great work.
No,
they
definitely are. They've been knocking doors. And I know that they're campaigning they definitely have focused a lot of energy on campus and with students, but I know that they're also in Seward and Longfellow. And, you know, what's interesting too is that that Como strip, I talked to somebody at Open Streets. I don't know if y'all heard that conversation. There's a lot of working class Minneapolitans who aren't necessarily students who live in Como, in Southeast Minneapolis. There is a working class community in Southeast Minneapolis. That's where my dad's from. I've known people my whole life, so that's another demographic over there too.
Yeah.
So Ward 2, I'm saying go Robin, independent, democratic, socialist.
Maybe throw Cam Gordon in as a backup, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, his time has come. I feel
like. What's your read on Cam Gordon?
It seems like he's just tries to be nice with everyone, and most of the times you don't want to be nice with everyone.
Bro.
Too Minnesota.
I don't know. He's not a fighter, I guess.
Exactly.
I feel like,
Yeah. Sometimes he takes better positions than other council members. He's a little more progressive, but I feel like he has that Green Party weird, nondescript progressivism. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, no personal respect to my guy, but I think he's kind of a doofus is how he comes off to me. He's kind of like an airhead. I don't know. I've had some interactions with him where I'm like, bro, you seem out to lunch, bro. I can't lie. Green Party dudes always got ruffled T-shirts.
I love no disrespect, but you kind of seem like a doofus.
That's not necessarily a doofus ain't a bad person. It's just a vibration that you're on.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Keen wearing, maybe build a earth home in the earlier decades kind of doofus Green Party guy.
Yeah. So it's a strong demographic in Seward, you know what I'm saying?
I remember seeing your tweet the other day about Seward being what did you say?
I said it's like a strange and enchanted land. It is. Yeah. I door knocked in Seward, and when I first started coming over south, the way I grew up, we barely left Northeast, and if I left Northeast, I was way more over north than over south. Going to De La Salle, I got introduced to South Minneapolis a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But then when I got out of college, I worked at Ann Sullivan right on the border of Seward and Longfellow, so that's how I got to know those areas. So a lot of working class people, really international neighborhood, but the architecture and the way that the neighborhoods are set up, it feels very appropriate for Halloween, fall season. It seems older, it's spread out, it's real dark.
That spooky tunnel off of Brackett Park.
There is that spooky tunnel. And there's I feel like it's cool. I'm clowning a little bit, but I think the culture in Seward, the left culture, people who have been building alternative lifestyles, that was so inspiring to me when I came from Northeast. That really opened up my eyes of what's possible. I also door knocked the other day in Prospect Park. Have y'all ever been up there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's wild. Those houses are
Tangled
buck
Town.
wild.
Yeah.
Yes, bro. I've driven around up there, but I've never been on foot up there other than in Glendale. So that was really cool to me. I'm into like the architecture and shit.
Prospect Park has such a dark, violent history.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was relearning or learning about like the Sumner House in Prospect Park, and it was like this Black American family that moved in. I don't remember when, but like what, the 30s, 40s?
I think it was in like the 1910s. And if folks want to go back, we detail this story in our interview with Daniel Bergen, who
Right. Oh,
did
yeah,
the Jim
because
Crow
Jim
of the
Crow.
North.
Yes.
So it was like that struggle is what legalized the racial covenants, because there wasn't covenants at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
There weren't covenants. The family was like violently like protested against, and then like, you know, had like forced eviction essentially.
Yeah.
Because of neighbors.
Like a mob violence.
Yeah.
Hey, but they held their ground though and fought back. I don't think they did.
It took a while, but they were just eventually like, I can't live in Minnesota.
Yeah. And I'm bogus right now for not remembering the woman's name. I'm going to do my diligence and go find it. But the story struck me. The daughter of that family became a colleague of W.E.B. Du Bois and was very fundamental in like the Black communist movement. The Black left like was really forged in that struggle. Forgive me for not remembering the name.
Marvel Jackson.
Marvel Jackson. Isaac,
All right,
my
Isaac.
God. That's that South High education right there. All right, should we go to Ward 3?
Right, yes.
Ward 3, yeah. Steve Fletcher is the incumbent. Liberal Democrat, and his main competitor is not Merv Moorhead. What's his name? Michael
Rainville.
Michael Rainville.
Barb Johnson's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
There's Alice Rainville Place downtown named after his mother. He's like a political dynasty family.
Right. Didn't he announce with like the police? Was it some police federation folks?
At the restaurant that my mom worked at my whole life growing up, Elsie's right there, like a real old Northeast restaurant, like that whole neighborhood down there. I know Michael Rainville personally because I got an aunt that lives down there, and going to De La Selle's right there, he's like around. I don't like him. I don't want him to win. I feel like this is the biggest takeaway for me in Ward 3 is there is no left candidate. I am no fan of Steve Fletcher. Steve Fletcher is like your typical neoliberal. You know what I'm saying? But worse in a sense because he's for some reason tries to brand himself and expect more from the left, you know, like expect support. But Steve Fletcher, I feel like, has been a terrible city council member. And it's unfortunate because that was the strongest left challenge was in Ward 3 last time, Ginger Jensen's campaign, you know, running from Socialist Alternative. You see what Shama Sawant has been able to do with her seat in Seattle. So I feel like I really wish Ginger would have won that. And I guess it's like, I don't give a fuck about Steve or Michael Rainville, which is like 6 to 1, half dozen the other to me. I don't know. That's probably not true. There probably is some nuanced difference, but
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like if Steve Fletcher loses to Michael Rainville, it's his own fault. I see like, that's one thing I've seen in this race is a lot of like scolding for us to get out there and support the Democrats. It's like, bro, sink or swim. I hope you can win, bro.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to lose, but Michael Rainville did raise like a stupid amount of money just from all the, you know, out of towners and shit.
You feel like Fletcher's got it in the bag?
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Ward 4.
Ward 4 is Jeremiah.
Philippe.
Ward 4 is
and Latricia Vita. Right. Who's a former Green Party candidate for
the park board.
Okay.
Who was caught on camera saying that she would sell whatever the landlord lobby gave to her.
Oh.
Was super against rent control.
Yeah.
Wait. Is this the candidate that was like, if rent control happens, like these hipsters are going to be ordering apartments left and right?
Dirty white guys with beards in their mom's basement. I don't know why she had to single me out. Like,
ordering apartments left and right. 3, please.
I'd like 3 apartments.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So not her maybe? Like that?
Definitely not Latricia Vital. Real pro-police candidate. Latricia Vital was the most aggressive anti-encampment park board commissioner. She was on the park. She's still sitting as a park board commissioner. She was ruthless in the lies she was spreading about unsheltered people and pushing to get people evicted. She's running like a rightist, revanchist campaign that's been super aggressive. I'll say again, though, Ward 4 is a race that does not have a left candidate. Philippe Cunningham has been a neoliberal Democrat. Philippe Cunningham has partnered with the Polats, you know what I'm saying, to help move the ball forward on the Upper Harbor Terminal. He hasn't taken a lot of progressive votes. I think really embarrassed himself with that whole thing about I didn't see how he walked back the pledge at Powderhorn. So again, a harm reduction vote for Philippe Cunningham. You know, I'm not gonna I hope he wins over Latricia Vita, but I don't feel like there's a left candidate in the race.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, really ugly vote against the East Phillips Urban Farm too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Where he was just saying, like, we don't want this to be in North Minneapolis, like the site placement of the storage facility.
Yeah.
So it's
or would have been in like
in,
Fridley or something.
I know, but
yeah,
he
like
framed it as like
proximity.
us versus them,
Exactly.
like north versus south. And
Yeah.
that really sucks to see a city council person be like, well, not my people, but your people can suffer.
Exactly. Yeah. Former Betsy Hodges staffer, Philippe Cunningham.
I didn't know that.
Yes, that's how he got. That was his pathway into that
from
seat.
the Bay Area to here.
I think from Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
He might have moved
went
to the Bay for a while.
He went to school in the Bay. I just remember him like introducing himself at a UHT meeting.
Oh, okay.
And being like, I went to school in the Bay, or like I moved here from the Bay, and then presented his logic model about how the UHT would work with community engagement and, you know, be successful in every which way.
Love a graph and some data and a logic model. Philippe Cunningham maybe inspired us though, because one time we had a contentious UHT meeting, and then I was unlocking my bike after the meeting. He came up to me and said, "Jake, what's your sign?"
Oh, that's the guy.
Him. Yeah, that's Philippe Cunningham. So we talked about it, and it's like, again, no personal animosity or whatever, but it's like me and Philippe don't have the same politics. I'm curious to know how do you think a left candidate would do in that ward? You know, that's been the conservative stronghold in the city. It's the northernmost part of North Minneapolis. A lot of the drive, you know, there's a lot of homeowners, wealthier homeowners on the peripheries of North Minneapolis. When you look at like the dynamics we talked about our last episode in the electorate, you wonder like, what would a left candidacy look out there? I tend to think somebody could be successful. You know, there's a lot of renters out there, a lot of working class people out there.
Yeah. I mean, sorry.
No,
I was just gonna say like most places, but I'm guessing particularly there, people are pretty burnt out by any politician coming in saying like, I'm gonna change your world for the better. And because I'm working with a foundation and they're putting millions of dollars into this region or this area. And so, yeah, that's disappointing and frustrating. So it's like, why should I show up for a person?
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think any of these words with like liberal, like progressives, TM, you know, like they're sucking up a lot of energy. So if there was like a left candidate who had that charisma, but
Yeah,
I
think so too.
yeah, no,
I think so too. Ward 5.
Ward 5. God damn, we're not even halfway through.
I know. 12, 13. I'm sorry. We have to talk to you later. I don't know.
Part 2.
Right.
Ward 5 is Jeremiah Ellison, incumbent, running against. He's got like 8 challengers or some shit, but like the main ones are Victor Martinez, who's a just Trumpite, I guess, was his politics, basically an evangelical of some sort.
Pastor.
Pastor. With a very energized ground game. And then Crystal Porter, who we were lucky enough to chat with a little bit at Open Streets. Is there anyone else who's like serious in that race?
I don't think so. Those are the 3 names I hear. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Out of the like 9 people running.
I think that maybe not 9. I'm being, you know, drastic, but like maybe.
But there's
6.
a lot of reactionaries, right?
Yeah, I mean, Kathy Span always runs, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
I think that all of his challengers are reactionaries.
And Elijah Holiday or something. He's a younger, but he's also like reactionary stances, I guess.
What do you think about Ward 5?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess Jeremiah Ellison, he was the one symbolic vote for East Phillips.
No.
No.
He wasn't the symbolic
He was the one
vote?
everybody was mad at.
I thought, who was wasn't there one?
No, I think he was a symbolic vote against, was it police? I think it was that police, maybe the Polad police. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not
I
sure.
thought okay. All right, whatever.
No worries.
Yeah, I don't know. What has he done? What has he done for Ward 5?
I can't speak for Ward 5. You know, he passed. I think Jeremiah was one of the best on the council in the last 4. And I'll say I'm no supporter of Jeremiah. I think Jeremiah is a Democrat. Me and Jeremiah have different takes on the Upper Harbor. Jeremiah voted for all those increases in the police budget. I think Jeremiah has democratic politics. I think he's better than some of the other ones up there. He stood closer to movements at times. Again, I think the dynamic that I'm reflecting on in Ward 5 is that there is no left candidate. There's a progressive Democrat and there's right-wing candidates, you know? So it's like, I'd rather have Jeremiah than any of his challengers. You know what I'm saying? I wish him the best of luck. And I think it's me and Jeremiah belong to different political organizations and have different visions of the city from what I could see, and I'd love to see a left. It's too bad nobody is challenging either Philippe or Jeremiah from the left, is my perspective. I think that's unfortunate, but that's the situation that we're in right now.
Right. Because they're left enough. I'm saying that with air quotes.
Right.
They're, yeah.
Yeah, they're progressive Democrats, you know what I'm saying? They're branded progressive, and they'll take some, you know, they have slight nuance from Jacob Fry, but they have tons of consensus with Jacob Fry. They're part of the same political party. They all have capitalist visions for the city. They're, you know, a different flavor of Democrats, which is pretty much the same flavor.
Right. And it's always should be noted, Ellison's part of a political, family.
Right. Exactly.
And any kind of, concentrated power is something to be suspicious of.
Facts.
So, yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I hope he beats Victor Martinez.
Yeah,
we'll see. I really can't call it. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Is he for rent control? Has Jeremiah,
Jeremiah's probably the one on the council who's been most for rent control.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I guess I'll reflect a little bit more. Is I was very disappointed that it took till the end of Jeremiah's tenure to talk about rent control. And in Jeremiah's first 2 years in office, we were definitely in communication. This something that really woke me up was there was a national foundation came in and created this anti-displacement working group that had council members from St. Paul, council members from Minneapolis, and nonprofit leaders from the Twin Cities to talk about anti-displacement. Jeremiah Ellison was on it. Andrea Jenkins was on it. My former boss, the ED from Hope Community, was on it. There was people from Alliance. There was people from organizations in St. Paul. They studied for a year, went to all these other places with this whole idea is we have to anti-displacement, we have to do it. They came forward and put forward a policy package that had no rent control on it. It completely ignored the potential of rent control. That's when Jeremiah was sitting in office. So that's why at the end of their tenure, we're getting this weak-ass rent control policy.
Right.
So that's when I wrote to them. I'm not trying to big myself up, but I knew from where the rest of the movement was at, is are y'all serious? You spent all that time and strung people along and you came back with these weird-ass policy proposals. And when I talked about rent control, there was no motion there, no movement. Years later then, what Jeremiah will say, though, is saying I led the movement for rent control. And it's I guess, compared to Lisa Bender, but in 2017, a socialist should have hit their ground running, talking about rent control and public housing. And that's the other thing I got to say. My criticism of Jeremiah, where he's different than a socialist, he's voted for RAD, he's voted for Section 18, and he showed hostility towards the public housing residents who are organizing. That's just political lines in the sand. We are at complete odds with one another. I can't support that. Yep. So it's it's better than Victor Martinez, but it's too bad that that's the only options people have right now, because people are getting displaced over there in Harrison right the fuck now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Ward 6?
We can honestly just skip Ward 6. I feel like there's not a better candidate from
I don't know enough about it. I've seen that bizarre thing that a woman was sent dick pics from somebody who was claiming to be a part of Jamal Osman's campaign.
Yeah.
And the campaign responded super hostile. You didn't see this?
No, what? Who was sending dick pics to who?
I didn't tell you about that?
No, you did not tell me about that.
It's such a blip. There's so many things.
I know, bro. It's like, that's why I'm like, look at the peaceful minds that aren't on Twitter at 24/7.
That's why we're patrons of Garbage Fuck USA.
There you go. Nah, but there was a woman who got a text from somebody's saying that they were representing the Jamal Osman campaign, and it was one of these campaign texts. How are you planning on voting?
They were saying they were him at first.
Yes, they claimed to be him. And then they started harassing her, basically pushing the issue and like bringing up his opponent's criminal record and like slandering the opponent. And this woman was like trying to get out of the conversation, and they kept going. And then the last message, he sent her a dick pic.
Oh my God.
So she comes out with her story on Twitter and talks about it. And then I don't care. I'm gonna talk spicy right now because the dude who works on Jamal Osman is the candidate, and he was saying it wasn't us. It's nobody from our campaign. We don't even got your number. But then his campaign manager is this dude named Sean Broom. I don't know if it's Broom with.
I don't know if he's his manager or he's just like
or he's just on the
consultant
campaign
or something.
Hey, fuck that dude. That's how I feel. I don't care. He was harassing her. He sent over 20 tweets to this woman, badgering her, calling her a liar and shit like that. And I'm saying fuck that dude because he did that to me before. He called us terrorists, people who were like tweeting for Bernie. And he's just one of these dudes who I hope I see in real life. That's all I'm gonna say. It's like, bro, you're so big on Twitter, bro. Oh my God. So that's like that's all I knew about Ward 6 is there's tons of controversy in this race over.
I think that guy formerly worked for Andrew Johnson, right? I want to say.
And you know who else he formerly worked for? The Chamber of Commerce. That's why I want to beat his ass more. Is because you actually got the nerve to try to. He was speaking crazy disrespectful on Twitter.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
And you work for the capitalists, bro. Then it's like, all right, bet, bro. Like,
Let me see it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, his opponent is Behe. Abduzak Behe, who like worked for countering violent extremism, right? CVE.
Oh, did
I
he?
think he had some
CVE
role in
funding. Yeah.
I know Ilhan endorsed him, so if you want like a change of flavor, I guess you could go that route. But
Yeah. It's the Coke versus the Diet Coke. Do you know what CVE is?
No.
CVE is Countering Violent Extremism. It was a federal program that sent grant dollars into communities suspected of radicalism. So it was a way to surveil like Black and brown and Muslim youth. So Cedar Riverside in the local East African Somali community was one of the main targets of this federal program. And they entrapped, there's young men right now doing damn near life sentences who never did nothing. The FBI came and concocted a whole plot and got them all mixed up in it. And CVE that's how the FBI was getting into the community, was giving out these grants. And it was just a whole racist program. And the young people in Cedar Riverside stood up and organized against it. And so they politicized around it. So now it's like a lot of people know who took CVE money and they're not to be trusted or associated with.
Wow.
Yeah.
When was that popping off? Like,
It was like
under Bush, I would want to say.
no, it was
or
recently.
later?
It was like under Obama for sure, and I'm sure probably under Trump too. But it was like the Obama years.
wow.
Yes, definitely.
That's wild.
I should have my like numbers off top, but it was like 2010s.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ward 7.
I don't know about that. Which one was that?
What is? Oh, that's Lisa Goodman's ward.
Lisa Goodman, Nick Core, and
Nick
Tekken. Again, no left candidate in that race.
Yeah.
I guess the progressives are going for Nick Core. I don't know nothing about Nick Core. He seems like a Democrat to me. I'd love to see Lisa Goodman gone. Tekken has an Operation Safety Net endorsement. I'm not going for that.
Okay. I saw that they were salty for not getting invited to like some panel on Instagram. They like commented on some flyer. I think it might have been East Phillips who organized. I can't remember who organized it, but they were just like, "Thanks for the invite."
oh my God. Minnesota politics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think? I don't think she's gonna lose. Probably.
I don't know enough to know.
East Isles and Kenwood constituency.
She's got her shit locked
yeah.
down. How long has she been on the council? Like 30 years or some goofy shit?
Lisa Goodman has?
Yeah. It's like 20 years at least.
She moved here to work on Paul Wellstone's initial Senate run.
Hey, do y'all know anything about Paul Wellstone?
We're all good together. We're all better. I don't know.
New Jersey, come on. Some Minnesotans will fight you for that.
Okay. All right.
No, I don't know shit about him either. I don't care.
I just don't know if he's like, because people write him out to be like, people write him out to be like this person who's like gonna ascend to the presidency or something, you know?
Yeah.
But
he died in a plane crash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know he was like on par with Bernie, I guess. So like a liberal Democrat.
Yeah. He was like a Bernie-esque figure from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
He was a professor at Carleton College, and he organized. He did like a lot of rural organizing, and he won. He just, and like people in Minnesota revere Paul Wellstone, like they really do, and like the progressives. But I was just curious. I realized I actually don't know too much about him. I read. I thought it was interesting that he did a dissertation. He has a PhD, and his dissertation was, something like the black militant in the ghetto, why they believe in violence. Like, yeah, right. That's really caught my eye, and I was like, I'd like to read that. You know, it's like an interesting dissertation topic. I read his Wikipedia the other day.
Catchy title, yeah.
But yeah, I was like, whoa.
Word 8.
I want to read that abstract. Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
I think somebody should read it. I wonder if anybody's read it.
Can I analyze this one? Oh Lord. Yes. So Ward 8.
That's Andrea Jenkins, so that's like
There's like no one else running.
Yeah. Ward 9, where we are sitting. Jason Chavez, which is like he's a left candidate, right?
Well, this is something that we should. I don't know.
It's like a gray area.
What do you call somebody with a dual endorsement from the DSA and the DFL? Do you call that a left candidate? I'm saying there's more of a left presence in this election because there is this slate of DSA endorsed candidates. There's 3 with a dual endorsement: Sheila, Aisha, and Jason, and then Robin, independent. I'd say Robin for sure meets that criteria. I hope Jason's a left candidate. I'll say that. You know what I'm saying? I hope he's more DSA than DFL. It also is interesting, though. I don't know if I want to get all the way into this, but it's important to recognize, like, I'm actually a dues paying member of DSA. I'm not, like, super active. I'd like to be because I want to be a part of building something. But DSA is not left in the left spectrum. And even going back to our conversation with August Nims, I don't consider myself a democratic socialist. I don't think we're going to get to socialism through parliamentary means, you know? And I'm not into like necessarily like sectarian bickering, but I think it's really important to state that like we have to go farther left than the DSA. And we can do that as members of DSA if we want to. We don't have to, you know, but there's like, I'm a communist, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's the question about having a DFL and a dual DSA-DFL endorsement is it going to produce different behavior and different results? Is there a discipline that the DSA is going to enforce on these candidates that's going to make them take stances that are left? How are they going to comport themselves? Are they going to organize in the movement? Are they going to take losing votes? Are they, you know, these are real questions I'm interested in.
Yeah, and I guess what concerns me about it all is this like niceness that has developed between DSA and DFL. Like, there's like, it seems like there's this concerted effort where you have the expressly neoliberal DFL candidates that are like working with the DSA endorsed candidates in some respects. Not all of them by any means, but
I think so too. And there's like the whole everybody co-endorsed Kate Knuth, right? Like, so in like as far as the mayor ticket, I think with Jason, it's important to say too. And I'm impressed with Jason, and I really am. I'm voting for Jason for sure. You know, and I've been in people in Ward 9. I'm turning them out for Jason. As he's a DSA endorsed candidate. He also is a staffer at the state legislature and was president of the youth DFL. That matters. You know what I'm saying? To me, I'm like, we do not need any more young Democrats. Like, please, young people, don't be Democrats. You know? So it's like, that to me, and I'm a grown man. I've been out here. I can see ambition. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm really rooting for Jason, but I don't need another ambitious politician. I need a committed socialist. That's what I need, you know? So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of like both sidesing it by getting both endorsements, right? Like, it's just like one foot in the, you know, two, whatever.
Yeah.
He's straddling it. And so that's appealing. That creates mass appeal.
True.
And it's like, that's a good strategy.
True.
But I think it's also just like, I could see him becoming more institutionalist if he was to win and like get sucked into the game.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I hope he's grounded.
Yeah.
I hope he's like, gonna advocate for the people he's supposedly advocating for.
Yeah. Me too. That's like one thing I know Robin is committed to, where I think is interesting is she's saying if she gets elected, she's going to take some of her salary to open up an office in the ward. And then, so rather than having her office be in the fucking jail building downtown, there's an office in the community, and that's like a way to like keep the movement engaged.
Yeah.
That's interesting because it's like the structure and mechanism. That's what August Nims taught us, was that's how democratic centralism, was adopted as a philosophy, which means we can have internal debate all the way. We're going to debate it till the end. But once the vote is made and the decision is made, everybody needs to respect that decision. They created that system so that the people who got elected would stop fucking off and doing their own thing, because then they're down there sipping nice drink, eating the fine wines and shit, making $100,000 a year,
Right.
and disconnected from the movement. And that's like, that's the danger of like social democrats, and the idea that just if we get a couple people in there, that shit is going to change. They're going to have to be subordinate to us and do shit way differently.
Yeah. That's something I've been thinking about, like this whole conversation, and how it ties into what we were talking about last week with like nonprofits and the conversation around rent control, and Fry talking about what did he say? He said it's a good
Yes, on process, no on substance.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking about like how liberalism is allowed to centralize the conversation, like centralize the discourse into such a and it's all intentional, but yeah, like such a specific place, like such a centrist discourse, that once you begin to have those serious ass conversations, like, okay, you claim to be progressive, so here's like some material ass things that you can do to live up to your politics, to meet the people's needs. And then they act like they're shocked, because it's like, no, how dare you go so far left?
Exactly.
When this was what I was willing to do. I told you how far I was willing to go, and now you're like go asking for way too much. And that's the thing, like all these institutions, all these candidates, like all of liberalism is constantly about making us feel like we're asking too much for basic ass needs.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You don't get it. You don't know how it is down here. I got these staff talking to me all the time. That's like, you're not actually down here in the game or whatever. And it's like, no, bro. I super feel you.
Right.
I think maybe, because I don't know if we'll get to it at the end, but one place this was really standing out to me was the appointment of the city attorney. So everybody's pointing to the city attorney's role in the city right now, because the police chief did a press conference in his full uniform at City Hall with the logo behind him saying vote no on question 2, right? And that's illegal. That's again, the city employees are not supposed to be able to on the clock advocate positions.
Right.
City attorney didn't say shit to the police chief, of course not. But he's out there, even people who are low level on committees in the city, he's coming down hard on people saying, don't criticize the mayor, that's stepping out of line, using the same law that Arredondo broke to enforce on people that are his enemies, right? That's a dirty move by the city attorney. What do you expect when you have a Target Corp executive as the city attorney who was appointed by Jacob Fry?
Yeah.
So you could, where are the progressives at? Jeremiah Ellison, Lisa Bender, Steve Fletcher. Nobody challenged Jacob Fry in that position. That shows the liberal consensus. Yeah, he's an expert at the law,
That was
like
after the uprising, too.
after the uprising. So to me, it's like people can point to like, oh, it's Jacob Fry's city attorney. No, it's not. It's Jeremiah Ellison, city attorney. It's Lisa Bender, city attorney. It was a consensus vote without even a critical question, and then if we were to bring that up, we don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, or we're asking for too much.
Exactly.
So, and again, bringing it back to like the DSA candidates, what I would expect is that these DSA candidates, that's a moment where you would fight. Any appointment is political and needs to be contested, but especially the city attorney, and it should violate every political instinct in your being for a target executive to take a position of public power, supposed to defend our interests. So, those are like the flashpoints, I think. Like, I don't know does a new mayor get to appoint a new city attorney?
That's a good question.
Get on that.
Who knows?
Patron research team. Patreon research team.
There must be a way to fire them, so I'd assume so, right?
I wonder,
Yeah. And plenty of reasons to fire him at this point. So
Yeah, really, though.
But I think like just thinking about like public-private partnerships and how that's just commonplace, strategies, whatever, like, practices in city governance now, that it's not unusual to be like, oh, he has a Target background. Like, oh, that's nice. Like, they Target Foundation, they buy school supplies for kids. Oh, cool.
And they also hired a whole staff in our city county attorney's office, and they also donated to us a whole fleet of technological equipment that we use to surveil and harass people. Like, that partnership runs so deep for decades.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So just having Mark Dayton as governor, and like they're deeply enmeshed in politics.
It is the Dayton's family that started Target, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, it is.
I did not know that.
Did y'all have Dayton's in North Carolina, like the department store called Dayton's?
No.
That's like the family who started Target, they first had like an empire of department stores.
It was like
Called
rivaled
Dayton's.
Macy's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I never heard
We
of
didn't
it.
go to Dayton's, we went to J.C. Penney's. What the fuck?
A bar.
Or Kohl's.
Coles was fudge.
Hell yeah. All right, we at Ward 10.
Yes.
We can stop after
Hey.
Ward 10, right?
Yeah. Go Jason Chavez. I'll end with that. I hope
Yeah.
you win
Yes.
Jason Chavez. Get the vote out for Jason Chavez.
Yeah.
I wish Jason well. I do.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you see Mickey Moore walking through Powderhorn, come at him. He'll probably spook really easily and like crawl into an alley or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Startle him.
Exactly.
Jump into some trash can.
Where's
Rest
Patty
there.
Mayonnaise?
You look like Doug.
Mickey Moore. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't give any air to Jason Chavez Challenger, which is good. Fuck
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ward 10, I got to say, Aisha Chugtai. Aisha is another one of these candidates that has a dual DSA and DFL endorsement. What I'll say about...
I don't think she has the DFL endorsement.
Oh, she doesn't?
She went for it.
She went for it.
But I don't think she got the threshold.
You're right. It was a split. So
Yeah.
she's DSA endorsed.
Yeah.
The thing I know about Aisha is that she is always, always, always out there on the front line. Like, I've been knowing Aisha for years now, it seems. I'm not sure exactly when I met her, but I'm talking about like rain, snow, overnight, when motherfuckers are getting arrested, when it's always holding it down. Like 100%. I got so much personal respect for her and her commitment. And it's, again, as much as I consider Aisha like a comrade for sure. And I have this question: are you going to be a socialist when you're in there? Or are you going to be a Democrat? Because you ran for it too, And I have a bunch of faith in Aisha. And I really would encourage anybody who lives in, it's like Whittier, somewhere like around
Uptown.
Bede-Makaska, Uptown, Ward 10. Aisha, how do you feel like that race is going? Do you know her challengers?
It's like her and it's kind of that same dynamic with the Sheila Kate, where it's like Aisha and this Katie Jones person who
Katie Jones.
Are they partnering up together?
I don't know if they're partnering up, but there's like that dynamic where it's like people like these progressive nonprofits are probably pushing both their
Yes.
names in tandem.
A good way to tell that Wedge Live is funny because he endorsed the other person.
Who's
What's
just
her
like
name?
a Lisa Bender kind of.
It's like a young white woman who's a landlord.
I think she's a landlord and she's like really about transit or some shit.
Yeah, it's like she seems definitely like the YIMBY Market Neighbors for More Neighbors candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she Green Party or no?
No,
She's
No.
big Democrat.
Oh, she's,
Democrat.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a different Katie, I think.
You are. Medford,
Maybe? I don't remember.
Yeah, she's in Ward 13.
Ward 13.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, and then the challengers are
Katie.
Chris Parsons, who's like a firefighter, Alicia Gibson. It doesn't seem like that would be a ward that would go reactionary from what I can tell, but
Yeah. So it seems like, what's the Aisha's main challenger's name?
on the like reactionary side?
No,
or-
the Lisa Bender Jr.
Katie Jones.
Katie Jones.
So I feel like it would be one of them too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I definitely
Yeah.
am going for Aisha.
yeah.
I feel like when I was walking around that ward, I saw a good mix of Aisha and Katie signs.
Same.
But I was like closer to like Lindale, so there was more Katie signs. I think, like, yeah,
Yeah. I think she's got the money to support
yeah,
more so.
Yeah.
I'm definitely rooting for Aisha and sending all my respect and love to Aisha's team. I hope they pull through. I'd like to talk about Lisa Bennett another time. I've been doing a lot of writing, and like I think that's important to say. Like they're running to replace Lisa Bender, who's not running, who's been the city council president, and more to be said on that in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I think we should just run through all the wards because we probably got patrons in all the wards and we appreciate and love you all. I just don't know as much about some of them. What's 11?
Ward 11 is Jeremy Schroeder. He's being opposed by Emily Koski, who also is related to like a political dynasty. I think she's like the niece-in-law of Diane Hofstede, I want to say.
Shit.
Who was a former...
State rep, I think.
State rep or city councilor. I think
Something
he repped.
like
I think she's who Jacob Fry beat. I want to say.
Oh yeah, she was Northeast. Hell yeah, Ward 3. Yes.
And then there's some dude named Jim Hofstede who was like a mayor who's also in that family.
Right.
I don't know the relation, but it's like this, political family throwing behind Emily Koski, who doesn't really have qualifications from what I understand, or like
she's like in her maybe like late 30s, early 40s or something. So she's like, young, like bright, energetic, and she's more of a reactionary candidate. I think she's like pro-police. I want to say.
I did a good bit of door knocking in Ward 11, and that made me think she's gonna win too, which is sad.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a room for a left candidate either in that ward.
No.
Where is Ward 11?
It's like, I want to say the cutoff is like 42nd maybe going south between, like this is rough, but like between 35W and Hiawatha-ish.
Like Pearl Park.
Yeah, Pearl Park.
Okay. Yeah.
Kenny, I want to say, isn't that the name of one of those neighborhoods?
I think so.
I forget.
Yeah. More money though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those nice houses along the creek and
am I right? And I think people consider Jeremy Schroeder one of the more progressive Democrats on the council.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's the progressive choice for that ward.
Yeah. So again, just a race where there's a progressive Democrat versus a more conservative Democrat and no left candidate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I seen Jeremy Schroeder at the pool. We took my nieces to the water park by the Mall of America, and we seen each other and kind of stopped and looked at each other. But I was like, it's cool, bro. It's the weekend. We're just chilling. Like, I got my shirt off, bro. He was like,
It's the weekend. I'll let you slide.
yeah, exactly. I'm watching you though. All right, what about Ward 12?
Andrew Johnson. We talked about it briefly.
My favorite coward.
Unfortunately, Willie Lee is not on the ballot. If you feel the need to run him in,
candidacy for Willie Lee.
Willie Lee, I'd probably do it.
Yeah.
He's being opposed by Nancy Ford, who's the owner of Repair Lair and who stopped by our booth at Open Streets Minnehaha. Thanks for showing the love, Nancy. Not really about the whole how you approach humanity thing, but for some reason you like this podcast. And I hope
Came in
you...
a little hot.
On the bike. Just gonna run it to the table.
I swear.
Oh God.
I feel like in my mind she hit the brakes so hard that she like stood up. All right, there we go. No dog in that fight. Andrew Johnson's a dork and a loser.
There's a lot of Andrew Johnson. There's also this phenomena. That's like the main area I've been knocking doors, and there's this Jacob Fry voter, Andrew Johnson voter phenomena that
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, definitely. He's also like previous. I don't know if they're backing him this year, but he took a lot of money from the poll ads.
Andrew Johnson
in 2017.
The reason I try not to speak bad personally about people, but I really feel like fuck Andrew Johnson because of how slimy that they stood on that stage, fake to be abolitionists for 5 minutes, and then was laughing at people in the New York Times. He's a hoe. Ward 13.
Yeah. Ward 13.
Yeah, and his Facebook status that was like, it's the wild, wild west out here. And yeah, fuck you. Ward 13, last ward.
Yeah, I didn't even know we were gonna do this right now. Oh yeah, I gotta go. Fuck.
Okay, Ward 13.
Ward 13, Linnea Palmisano's running for re-election. She used to work at United Health Group. She sucks.
Very bad.
Very bad. Mike Norton's running against her. Best of luck. So is Katie Medford, who's a listener, right?
Katie Medford is a listener.
Shout out to Katie. I would rank you first, Katie, if I was living in your ward.
Just off the status of you're not a Democrat. Another no left in this race, right? I think Katie is a Green Party member.
Yeah.
I don't consider the Green Party left. You know what I'm saying? I'd be curious to hear, like, but I just don't see them as clear socialists, anti-capitalist, but I'd rather have a Green than a Democrat probably, you know? So I guess Katie Medford, but again, no left in that race.
Yeah.
Parting thoughts?
You know, I realized I don't have to run. I did that last time I left my shit here and everything. I got scared. I had to get home.
I mean, if you do need to get back to your child or wife,
Soon.
like that's fine.
Yeah, pretty soon. But I can chill for 5 minutes. I'm grown, okay? I can do what I want to do. Any parting thoughts?
We all do. Fuck. I remembered it and then I forgot it again.
Damn. I say, like, go St. Paul, rent control.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in St. Paul, go to vote. Bring somebody with you. I'm really proud of the St. Paul rent control campaign. It's a great policy. There were some interesting takes on it. We were going to talk maybe more about rent control, but we've talked about it before on the show, and we could talk about it in the future. But go St. Paul.
Don't let the YIMBY urbanists convince you it goes too far, because it never goes far enough.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a very small step in the
housing.
right. Exactly.
That's far like where I want to go, and I don't think that's too far.
No.
Exactly.
And this moves us in that direction.
Yeah.
I think like closing for me, I mean, we're going to talk about this more later, but Jake and I were having a conversation like 2 weeks ago about just the radical imagination and the importance of having imagination in terms of like in creativity in the world that we want to see, in the world that we want to build. So when people step to you about shit being too radical, when it's the bare minimum or not even reaching the bare minimum, do not give in to that, because it should always be more. Like Deanna just said, we should decommodify housing. Like that's the world that we should be working towards. So don't be listening to people that are like, oh, I don't know about rent control.
Thank you for saying that. Absolutely. Yeah. There's something weird about how election season 2 can really put limitations on our imagination. It's like more people are paying attention, but in ways that can really close out our thinking. And it's really like, again, in a really serious way, it's not what's primary in politics doesn't happen around elections or people who are elected to office. It's in our workplaces. It's in the streets. It's in our radical imagination. It's in our on the ground with the masses of people who probably can't even vote in this election. I not embarrassed myself, but I had to check myself because somebody was talking about the election. I said, oh, who are you going to vote on too? And they looked at me like, bro, I can't vote. And I was like, yeah, I need to check myself, this whole electoral thinking, you know? And so I appreciate that, Amber.
Yeah.
We all do better when we all do better.
Bow, Wellstone. I hear there was like a 10,000 soft oops right there. Just like Minnesota just collectively sighed.
Is that a Minnesota?
That's the Wellstone thing I cannot remember.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I met Paul Wellstone's son because his son used to date my homie's mom when we were in high school.
Oh. Was he nice?
He was like a cool looking guy. He had like a black leather jacket and he looked like he was with the shits, basically.
He's been through the shit.
That's what I'm saying. That's how heavy. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. He's lived a life.
Yeah. Damn. Well, it's okay if you don't vote. Well, you can still listen to the podcast.
Oh, I can say one other thing is I got invited to represent the show on Left Reckoning, a podcast that's done by two guys who used to produce the Michael Brooks show, and I had a really great time, and it's going to air on Monday. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but it'll stay up there, so if you want to go check it out.
Yeah. Put in the show notes.
It should be airing Monday.
Okay.
Bet.
Are you manifesting that?
Well, the election's on Tuesday.
Yeah, we got it right.
Here's who we're saying you should vote for Wednesday, November 3rd.
Elections don't mean shit.
Oh, also, I just want to say to everyone listening that Isaac was able to say every single ward and candidate from
Facts.
memory.
Yes.
From memory. He wasn't looking at a ward map. He wasn't looking at a list. This dude just like knows it all.
Real
He
Minnesota.
really does.
In the head.
Right, exactly. No, Isaac is for real the brains behind this operation.
Yeah.
That's what Twitter.com does to you sometimes. Huh?
Maybe they could sponsor this episode.
All right, money.
Power.
Land.
Solidarity.
We need money, land, solidarity. If you funny, stand very far away from me. We have running plans about as far as they can see to keep them coming. Bands building up the company.